Welcome to another Spark Talk. In this case, this is the sequel to a video done not so long ago. And frankly, it was a very unexpected one to begin with. But we shall now discuss about this very particular story regarding some renders and new models. Let's go. So, before we discuss today's topic, we must explain how this came to me and why I decided to basically make a sequel to the previous video. These last few weeks, I've seen the highly regarded Rabbids fans, Verminator and Contendo making various posts and having many conversations regarding the new Rabbids renders. The discussions were about how all the new renders got new lighting, new colors, and how they seem to have lost their edge. I say this because the vibes that each render transmits are different, especially when comparing it to the old ones utilized in the early games like this one from Go Home, some that come from the Rayman Raving Rabbids games, and the famous Financial Crisis render, which is an iconic meme inside the fandom. I knew about the existence of these renders for a very long time. In fact, I have already talked about them many years ago when I did that video on the Fun Grocery 1535 leaks, with even mentioning the names of the two main artists and the art director behind these renders. But I never gave them much importance due to the fact that they weren't a big deal back then. I mean, everyone was more focused on the Sparks of Hope trailer, expecting the Party of Legends localization, and the release of Rabbids Invasion Mission to Mars. 2022 was just a great year for Rabbids fans, my friends. After finally looking into the subject after so long, I've realized something. That the artists behind this ID update are women! I'm as surprised as you folks, and do not worry, we will talk about it here and now. Let me present to you the two creative ladies behind these new renders. Behold, Laureen Bayer and Perrine Lozinguez. Laureen Bayer is a lady from Paris, France, who is highly skilled in 3D art and 3D animation. She has experience as a character designer in Hack and as a 3D artist for Vanishing Stars. Her most remarkable work has been becoming a 3D market artist for the Rabbids IP inside Ubisoft Paris. Perrine Lozinguez is a Dane from Lyon, France, who has been working in the video game industry for more than 5 years. She graduated as a project manager game artist at Isart Digital, and her background includes many experiences in companies of various sizes. She specializes in 3D modeling and look deck for both rendered and real-time productions. The relation that these two lovely damsels hold is that they both work together in a very special project, an ID update of the Rabbids brand. During 2019, Miss Laureen and Miss Perrine worked together under the art direction of Mr. Guille Fanucci to make a new visual identity for the Rabbids brand. They made over 40 poses involving these crazy bunnies that ranged from remakes of classic Rabbid renders to all new poses that even reference the newer game of the franchise Kingdom Battle. Both Perrine Lozinguez and Laureen Bayer commented that the objective was to make them more modern, lovable, and trendier to permit a better connection with the new generation. They try to keep the Rabbids' craziness with more actual expression and sometimes deform their usual shapes to make them more dynamic. Perrine also mentioned that she utilized her usual Rabbids rig, owned by Ubisoft, and tried to give it a more friendly mood. To make things simple, all these new renders form part of our Rabbids rebrand project that started since 2019, as seen in the info below each one of these images. This can be confirmed with these images used to promote the release of Rabbids Coding alongside its nomination and later award for Best Learning Game in the Games for Change Awards. These new renders have been utilized for quite some time now. However, they have been only utilized inside the social media posts of Ubisoft, mainly the official Rabbids Twitter pages of Japan, France, and the United States. And there's more to the story than simply being a collaborative work between two talented ladies under the art direction of a great art director. But before we continue, we gotta talk about Guille Fanucci. Guille Fanucci is a gentleman from Canada who is currently an art director for the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake at Ubisoft Montreal. He has experience from previous roles at Ubisoft Paris and Oliver Agency. He holds a 2003 to 2006 master's degree at ECB Paris with a robust skill set that includes publicity, digital marketing, art direction, web design, public relations, and more. What caught my attention wasn't the person who was in charge of these, but rather from where he is from. Guy Fanucci is from Ubisoft Montreal, a very remarkable studio behind Ubisoft who made some highly regarded games from the company like Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, Prince of Persia 2008, and Child of Light. However, they have never worked or collaborated on any Rabbids games before. It's surprising to me that someone from said studio worked at these despite the fact that he doesn't really have any sort of relationship with the franchise, unlike someone from Milan, Paris, or Montpellier. And it doesn't end there, folks. There's a lot more to it. It seems that even more of these were done. Ubisoft had internships where folks like Alexis Pelter, Etienne Demierc, and Benjamin Martineau worked on more renders that were for the most part remakes of older renders from the classic era. All of these can be seen in their ArtStation accounts. And these renders weren't utilized by any of Ubisoft's social media, nor were they intended to. But taking into account that these renders were made between 1 or 2 years ago, it means that this new style has become the base for everything moving forward. Well, now we know what all of these new renders mean, how they were created, who made them, and where we can find them. I guess there's only one more thing left to comment about. Our viewpoint regarding the existence and usage of these new renders. Look, folks, I understand that these new renders may have caused the Rabbids to lose some of their sauce, as they say, but I don't believe that this is a big deal considering these are just utilized for social media outlets. These are more so a presentation to showcase the looks and styles we can see the Rabbids in. I just want to remind you all that all these new renders were created on the famously known Snowdrop era of Rabbids games, since these were done in 2019, around 2 years after the release of Kingdom Battle. Therefore, these are just products of the current era of Rabbids stuff we are living in, at least in the games aspect. Heck, the Japanese Rabbids Twitter account uses some of the old renders and models to make short posts alongside these new ones. Taking out of the question any nostalgic attachment or notorious reference, these renders look absolutely great. They look slick, clean, and very colorful, not to mention quite fresh and inventive when used for these new situations. It seems like they're a mix between the designs of Invasion and the Snowdrop games. On top of all, it's great to know that not only 2 women worked together to make these, but they were front and center of it as well as being the foundation for others to follow inside the company in those internships. They were in charge of this project and had a unique vision they wanted to show to the world, and they made it. It's actually fantastic to know that we got more names attached to the Rabbids brand, and it's cool to see that they were able to leave their mark on this franchise. It's not something you need to love, but something you need to value. And you know what? I value it a lot. What do you know? A small discussion that 2 of our beloved Rabbids fans had ended up on a history lesson on animation and renders. Man, the story of this franchise is very interesting, and the people behind it are very talented. I'm so glad we have folks like them in our lives, and I'm happy that we got people that care so much about these renders. I guess there's nothing else I really want to say more than thanks for joining us today. I want to thank to everyone who was involved in the creation of these renders, especially to the duelist Damsels, I would like to call them. And, well, that will be everything for today, folks. Have a good one, and I'll see you around! I guess that will be the end of this tale. Am I right? I mean, we already talked about the lady who was behind the mayhem of this experimental era of the franchise, and we also talked about the duo of ladies who worked together to bring a new visual identity to the Rabbids brand. I guess that will be the end of it. Right? See you in part 3.